Welcome to this introduction about the study Trans Labour Market Wallet. My name is Lucas Romson, and it will be me or my colleague Christina Alsen you'll be listening to in the different webinars about the study. We two are the project managers for Trans Labour Market Wallet. I'm an equality consultant, trans expert, and have been working with trans issues for 25 years. Christina Alsen is a political scientist and she's an expert in measuring equality. Trans Labour Market Wallet was a study about trans people's situation in the labour market and the financial situation in Sweden and Finland. Åland should have been included, but sadly enough, we didn't got any respondents from there. Our finances came from the Nordic Council of Ministers via NIC's LGBTE fund. We have been collaborating with the big trans and LGBTQ organizations, FPS, RFSL and Transamas in Sweden, and SETA Transfeminina Regnbågsallians in Finland, and Regnbågsfyren Åland. The project leader has been me and Christina, as I said, with our companies Rätt Olika and Medida. We also had good help from Inclusion Insights for more advanced statistical analysis and Equalita for both translation and cultural competence regarding Finnish conditions. Our study started with a large quantitative survey with over 1,000 respondents from Finland and Sweden. Our selection is not random since it's not possible to when it comes to minority groups. That means we can't say that our results are pleasurable to all trans people in Finland and Sweden. However, with support from previous research in the field, our experience with trans people as group, and our qualitative material, we still believe that our results are in some way relevant, also outside our group of respondents. We have some biases in the material. We see an underrepresentation of the elderly, of trans people identifying as women, and naturally also of trans people who are assigned male at birth, and of people who are exposed to racism. We would have liked to reach more trans people who are exposed to racism and more elderly people, because in this already invisible group of trans people, they are even more invisible. We spread the word via their organizations and via our networks, and also asked key people for help in spreading the word, but unfortunately, we did not reach all the way. And our Finnish respondents are more often younger and assigned female at birth. We also feel that we have not reached the truly vulnerable trans people to the same extent. They may have difficulties completing such large and heavy online service as ours due to poor mental health, poor internet access, or language problems. The survey was available in Swedish, English, and Finnish, but no other languages. And they might be less organized and therefore did not see the survey. So we think that we are probably showing the best possible outcome, that we have to some extent a slightly more privileged selection among our respondents. Also in the qualitative part, trans people's own voices have been important for us. We had over 150 questions in the survey, and at 70 of them you could put in a free text answer. And a lot of people did that. It's a fantastic source for a deeper understanding of the question. We also had workshops with trans people, and for them, we deliberately sought participants outside the organizations to broaden our basis in the qualitative part. And not least, we had a reference group with people from all our collaborating organizations who were with us the whole journey from receiving questions for the survey to qualitative analysis. They have been invaluable. I would also like to briefly mention a little about how we will talk about our different groups during our presentations. Among other things, we have divided our sample into different age groups. so that we can make comparisons between different ages. Since we received so few respondents who were older, we have had to draw the line at 45 years for the older group. We don't think 45 years is that old, but it was the only way to get a large enough group to compare with. The younger group, 18 to 25 years old, and the middle age, 25 to 45 years old, have more normal age ranges, but the older ones are quite young. Also, we will talk a lot about gender, and that complex when it comes to trans people. We will talk about different gender dimensions. They are assigned gender at birth, with the abbreviations assigned AFEBs for assigned female at birth and AMAB for assigned male at birth. We will talk about gender identity. The respondents could select a gender identity, one or many, from a selection list, including the final other. We will talk about perceived gender. The question was, how do you think you are usually perceived by people around you? If you think of all the people you meet in 1 month, and the answers could be one of mainly as man, woman, deviates from gender norms, it varies, I don't know. Mathematically, we also created gender clusters, which consisted of the mentioned gender dimensions together with gender expression. When it comes to gender expression, the respondents could choose one of the answers: feminine, masculine, androgynous, both female and male. It varies. We have 3 gender clusters, 2 clusters of AFEBs, but 1 of AMABs. So the gender cluster with the trans women non-binary AMABs consists of AMABs that have a gender identity as female, trans women, or to some extent non-binary. They are perceived as women or norm-breaking. They have female but to some extent mixed gender expressions. So it's a rather heterogeneous group. The non-binary AFABs. They are AFABs. They have other gender identities than man or woman. They are perceived as women or norm-breaking. The gender expression often falls out the typical female and male. And last, the trans men cluster. They are AFABs. The gender identity is male or trans man. They are perceived as men mostly, and the gender expression is predominantly male. Thank you for listening. Now you can continue and take part of the other webinars about trans labor market wallet.